What's up, Dragon Brood? Oh my gosh, I still sound awful, but you know what? I'm back from Magic 30. I'm here. There's still even more cards from the last day and a half. I survived my trip, and now I get to go over some more cards with you. So let's go look and see what cards got previewed in the last, like, I don't know, day and a half for Brothers War. As always on these previews, y'all are looking at them just when I'm looking at them, so you're getting first blush, I guess, reviews. Remember, don't go making any crazy decisions based on this because we haven't seen the whole set. Hell, I think we've barely even seen half the set yet. I don't even think that many. So, yeah, don't take anything away from this other than we're speculating and just thinking about things we can and can't do with these and maybe how they'll affect the format. That being said, let's get right into it. So we've got Blade Whip Transmogrent. This is a 2 colorless 3/1 artifact creature, zombie, I believe. It actually can't block. It's 4 colorless, black, return it from the graveyard with a +1/+1 counter on it. And it costs 4 less to activate this if an opponent controls 4 or more non-basic lands. Wow. This is strong. This is legitly good, right? It's a 2 mana 3/1, so that's already solid. It can't block, that's fine. But it has the ability to keep coming back for more often than not to black. Now, admittedly, we are seeing a fair amount of mono black and mono blue in standard right now, so there's a chance against those matchups you're obviously not going to get it into play. But anything else with 2 or 3 colors, you're probably getting this back whenever you want it. This is actually a pretty solid card. And if you're looking at something like maybe even playing mono black aggro or some type of Rakdos sacrifice or whatever, this is going to be a thing you can keep getting back, keep using after a board sweeper comes back and keeps fighting. I like what this offers. This is a pretty sweet card. All right, we have a something Behemoth. Don't really know what it is. It is a beast artifact creature. 5 mana, 2/7. You can play land cards from your graveyard. It has Unearth of GG. Man, this one's tough, right? Because 5 mana for a 2/7 isn't that great. So you almost have to look at it as like, can you maximize the actual ability? That's what you would be playing this for. You're not playing it to have a 2/7. You know, like, now admittedly, if you just pay 2 to get it out of your graveyard, then having it as a 2/7 at that point is actually reasonable. It's like nothing wrong with that. But realistically, this is something that could fit into the decks we were playing with, like Slowkirk and, you know, the sacrifice lands and all that stuff. You could do some cute things with this card. Is it great? Because again, I feel like it kind of mostly goes in a specific type of deck. But maybe it is the piece that those decks were missing. We'll find out. All right, Draconic Destiny, a colorless, red, enchantment aura. Enchants creatures. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and has flying, haste, and pay 1. This creature gets +1/+0 to end a turn, and it's a dragon in addition to its other types. When enchanted creature dies, return this card to its owner's hand. Wow. What the hell? Okay, so for 3 mana, we get to turn a creature into +1/+1 and give it flying and haste. Minimum. That's if you never pay to use the fire breathing ability, right? For 3 mana, you give a creature +1/+1, flying and haste. And then if the creature dies, it just goes back to your hand and you get to do it again. This has to be playable, right? Like, I can't accept that this would not be playable. Like, think about how many times if you had just a way to get your creature over the top, you could just win a game, right? Like, this, wow. I mean, it doesn't give them trample or anything, but that would be absurd. So, like, yeah, this is really good. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm going to find a way to try to play this. That's all I'm saying. This is Awaken the Woods is the translation I have on this one. It is X green. Create X/1/1 green forest dryad land creature tokens. What the hell? What are we doing in this? Okay. So if this translation is correct and I'm interpreting this properly, on turn 4, let's say, you could play this for 2 and then have potentially 7 mana on turn 5, assuming you played another land, because you would have 5 lands plus the 2 creatures you made that you'd be able to tap for mana since they are forest dryad lands. Like that is, man, the potential here is really big. Like, you could chain this along with other spells to just get tons of mana to do things. Like, you could just make a bunch of bodies. It's a sorcery, by the way, so that's the good news. But yeah, this, I like this. Well, what I like about this card is it's a type of card that if you want to keep the aggression up, You can try to play it on turn 4 or 5 and just like load the board and try to do a big finish the next turn. By the way, side note, this is something that'd be really fantastic to have in a tokens deck alongside something like Jetmir, right? Like you just set up a Jetmir kill the next turn. Like, so that's actually pretty sweet too. Or you have a board already set up and then you just play this afterwards to make like 4 or 5 bodies and put you over the 9 creature threshold or whatever to get the Jetmir bonus. So that's actually pretty cool too. But yeah, this actually is really good. You can play it just to be aggressive, or you can save it in your hand. Your opponent sweeps the board, and you're like, okay, I'm going to make like 6 dudes, and then we're going to keep fighting, right? There's some crazy cards, but this one seems kind of interesting. Deathbloom Ritualist. 3 colorless, green, black, 3/5, creature, elf, warlock. Tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. All right, this one's solid. If you're doing some type of reanimator thing or whatever, or maybe some quirky elf deck or whatever, this is fine. I don't know if I'd say it's good. I mean, 5 mana is a lot to spend for a mana creature, even if it is making you like 5 mana or whatever when you tap it. It is a 3/5 though, so at least put it on a reasonable sized body. I'm not sure if 3/5 is good enough, but 5 toughness is a lot. So I'm not going to turn my nose up at this card. I'm just less excited than a lot of other cards we've seen so far today. This one's an uncommon, but I just read it and it looks like it's worth mentioning. So Junkyard Genius, colorless, red, black, 2/2, human artificer. Lots of artificers in the set, by the way. When Junkyard Genius enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token. You can also pay colorless, black, red, sacrifice another creature or artifact. Until in their turn, other creatures you control get +1/+0, gain menace, and haste. This is a really good card for the sacrifice decks. Like, how many times have they just had like 4 or 5 little puds and they're slowly taking their time to attack and you're chump blocking, or some just sit back because they know they're going to die. But like, if you could cycle one and everything's +1 and they have menace, like, that's really good. And a lot of their stuff gives you an extra ability or bonus for sacking it anyway. So yeah, this could be really, really good. Also, I want to point out, you don't actually have the restriction of as a sorcery. You don't have it as once per turn. So this opens itself up to a lot of strategic things you could do with this. Fauna Shame. I know what this card is. This is a reprint. Colorless and a green for a 2/2. Pay a green, tap it, discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And this is an Elf Shaman. This card's really good. It's an awesome reprint if you play Commander and you haven't been able to get your hands on the old ones. Yeah, but a cool card. Like, I like it even in an elf style deck because you can always go like get rid of some junky thing and go find your elf lords or whatever. But yeah, just a quality all around card. Not game breaking in any way, just good solid rare. Gixian Puppeteer, 3 colors and a black for a 4/3 Phyrexian Warlock. More Phyrexians there. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. When this dies, return another target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yeah, this one's another one that's just kind of solid, right? It's a 4 mana 4/3, so not great, not bad. But if you have a way to draw cards, every time you draw your second card for the turn, you're draining your opponent for 2 life. And then when it dies, you get something else out of your graveyard. So yeah, this just seems solid to me. Yeah, really nothing wrong with it. I think if there were an issue, it would just be what deck's going to play it, because there's other things we could do at 4 and 5 mana that are equal as strong or better. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's the real issue with this card, is I don't know where it's going to fit. But there's probably a world for something like this for sure. Oh my gosh, we're full on translation on this one. So it says Platoon Dispenser, which I'm assuming means it makes creatures. But this is an artifact creature. It's a 4/6 for 5 mana. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more creatures other than this one, you draw a card. You can pay 3 colorless and a white, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token, and then it has unearth of 2 white. Wow, there's a lot to dissect here. 5 mana, 4/6. Okay. But during your end step, if you have other creatures, you get to draw a card, so that's pretty sweet. And then you can always pay 4 to make a creature. And this, again, is one of those cards that doesn't have play as a sorcery, doesn't have once per turn. So you can wait, make copies to block with or whatever. That's pretty sweet. These also are soldier tokens and artifact tokens. So there's going to be a lot of things to care about artifacts. We know already from the last set there's a bunch of stuff to care about soldiers. So this could find a way potentially into one of those decks as well. Weird kind of conceptually, but overall it's doing a few things that I think different decks might enjoy. All right, we don't have a name for this one, but it's an artifact creature angel which in a way looks like some kind of Gundam, the style of artwork they did. So it's actually kind of cool. It has prototype of a colorless white and becomes a 3/3. So you can pay that cost to have it as a 3/3. It still has flying, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose flying, vigilance, or lifelink. Target creature you control gains that ability until end of turn. Wow. Regular cost is 6 for a 5/4 flyer. I like this a lot. In a mono white deck, you want something, or even white red or whatever, you just want something aggressive. This has flying, can still come over the top. You get the option of flying, vigilance, or lifelink on whatever other creature you want. This could be pretty powerful in multiples, getting multiple things flying or whatever. And it says target creature, so you don't even have to choose another creature. You could choose itself as well. So yeah, lots of good stuff going on with this card. I think it's pretty neat. Would not be surprised if I see this in a couple of decks. Siege Veteran. 2 colorless and a white for a 2/2. Human Soldier. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter. Wait. I haven't even read the rest of the card yet. But didn't we just have this card and have to nerf it? Now, admittedly, 3 mana is worse than 2 mana. So, and this is a 2/2 versus being a 1/1. So I'll give it that. But we just had that card. And it had to be nerfed. So I don't know about this. But anyway, beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever another non-token soldier you control dies, create a 1/1 soldier creature token. Or artifact creature token. So again, this makes tokens, which is really good. It has the ability. We already know this ability is good. It's just a matter of, is it still good on a 3 mana thing versus on a 2 mana thing? We'll find out as time goes on. But really strong ability. It's a human and a soldier, so it's going to fit a couple of different creature types. It can make more bodies whenever you have creatures, soldiers die. That's cool. Yeah, this is a rare that, if actually, since we just saw that last card, thinking about, you know, these are both 3 mana rares that could fit into the white decks, I'd be more inclined to say we're going to see more Siege Veteran than the other thing. Simeon Simulacrum, 3 colorless, 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Has Unearth of 2 GG. Wow, this is a good one too. All right, so you can pay 3 mana, and it says enters the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. So you could put it on itself. So you could pay 3 mana and have a 4/3? 3 mana, 4/3. How do we feel about that? That's pretty good. Now, I don't know if it beats out other 3 mana cards we could play. Because still, like, let's say you're playing Mono Red or Gruul Aggro or something, one of the Hyper Aggro decks. Like, you still have stuff like Reckless Stormseeker. You know, the green decks have already been playing multiple things in that slot. So I don't know if this replaces any of those. I like the option of being able to put the counters wherever we want, though. And the Unearth is pretty sweet. So I would be inclined to say this probably finds a home somewhere, especially if there's a deck that cares about +1/+1 counters or something. But I don't think it's as much of a slam dunk as you would think. You probably have to have a bit more help to make this super playable. Mechanized Warfare, colorless, red. If a red or artifact source you control will deal damage to an opponent or a permanent your opponent's control, it deals that much damage +1. You know, I feel like we've had versions of this card before throughout Magic, and they never really end up being huge. However, in this case, it's 3 mana, it's an enchantment, and it just basically says all your stuff deals an additional damage, especially if you're playing like Mono Red Aggro or something, which is pretty big. I mean, it makes all your burn spells be able to deal with stuff easier. I would not be shocked to see this make some play somewhere. Like, this is probably one of the better versions of this ability type that we've seen. All right, Fortified Beachhead. I haven't read the ability on this yet, but seeing that it's white-blue kind of makes me unnerved because we already have the white-blue Painland legal, so I'm kind of curious. But it says, as this enters the battlefield, you may reveal a soldier card from your hand, and Fortified Beachhead enters the battlefield tapped unless you revealed a soldier card. This way, or you control a soldier. Tap for blue or white, 5 and tap it. Soldiers you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. What? Like, all right, so we've had versions of this before as well, where they're tied to a creature type. You reveal that when it comes into play if you want it untapped. Otherwise, it comes into play tapped. That part's easy. It's just weird kind of looking at it and saying, I'm not sure what soldier deck wants blue and or wants white and blue. We know they want white and something. But then you're also paying 5 to give all your soldiers +1/+1 to a turn. I'm not. That's really not efficient because you have to tap 6 lands. I mean, I feel like this is mostly fine. Like if I'm playing a deck that already wants some blue and white lands, if it can afford these to come into play tapped, it's a fine extra land to have. But hey, it's a multi-land with a pretty much other than coming into play tapped, no real drawback. It can have the option of being untapped potentially. It's probably fine. I'd be curious to see what the other lands do. One with the Multiverse, which is some sick art on this thing. 6 colorless, blue enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying a spell. Wow. Okay, first off, powerful ability, but you are paying 8 mana, right? Like, you got to get something for that. 8 mana is a lot. You get to look at your cards, so you always have extra info. You can play lands or cast spells from the top, and you get 1 for free every turn. Each of your turns, not every turn. But that's yeah. I honestly, this is going to be a baller commander card. This is the type of card that, this might be the first time I said this season, but this is the type of card that once you know it's for real going to be a commander card, and I can't see a reason this one wouldn't be, I would probably get a couple extras. If this comes out at a reasonable price, I have not looked at any prices on any cards from Brothers War yet, I would genuinely consider picking up a couple of these, because this is the type of card for commander I could envision being, $15, $20 reasonably, and then once it rotates out of standard, jumping even more. Because this is a really, really strong ability, especially when considering commander. You have several things that cost 5 to 8 in your library, and just getting those for free could have a huge benefit. Brotherhood's End. All right, I'm assuming this is the end of the story where these two are fighting. Colorless, red, sorcery, choose 1. Deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, or destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. And it's a sorcery. Again, we've had cards before that were 3 mana and red, deal 3 damage to creatures or creatures and planeswalkers, whatever. If we think that ability is still going to be worth playing, then you go ahead and play this, because it's just the same thing with upside, right? That you also get the option of destroying a bunch of artifacts. And being real, if the Power Stone type decks or whatever are a thing, being able to just play this main deck or sideboard and destroy all those things could be pretty strong. So yeah, this one likely gets some play, but I would imagine more as a sideboard than in the 60. I just read this and it's just weird. We just made Demolition Fields so you can have more Field of Ruin. Or maybe we just want to get rid of Field of Ruin and we want to, in the future, just reprint Demolition Field. I don't even know why we're doing this. Like, this literally is the same thing, right? Pay 2, tap it, destroy a non-basic. Your opponent searches for a basic land. You can search for a basic land. Like, okay. Weird. Just figured I'd point it out. It was there. It didn't make sense to me. Tyrant of Kerr Ridges. 4, red. So 6 mana for 4/5. Dragon, flying. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to any target, and then it has the fire breathing of pay a red. Give it +1/+0 until the turn. I think the problem is we just have better dragons to play. Now, there may be some version that is able to get this in and out of the graveyard a couple times, because we do have Rivers of the Claw, I think, that lets you do that. So the 4 damage could be pretty good. The one thing I will say, though, is it's 4 damage to a target, not to a player, not to a planeswalker. You do get the versatility of what you want to do with it, whether you need to kill a creature or just hit your opponent. So I do like that aspect of it. 4/5, not the largest dragon that we could play right now, but you are able to give it fire breathing as well, so there's that. It's a fine card, but not a good card, I don't think. Terizian Mindbreaker, 7 colorless, 6/4. Creature Juggernaut. I mean, this is some wild art in this set. Are y'all seeing this thing? This thing's crazy. Whenever Terizian Mindbreaker attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded up. Okay. It also has Unearth of colorless, blue. All right, and I've mentioned Unearth a couple times. Y'all don't know it says Unearth is return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next turn, or the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, it's also exiled. You have to Unearth as a sorcery. So if you're curious, what is Unearth? Because it's come up a few times this video. Man, 7 mana is a lot. 7 mana is a whole lot. I mean, if we're playing some Reanimator stuff, we're throwing it in the graveyard, maybe we're getting some trickery to get into play. It's possible. Milling half somebody's library is cool. Often doesn't kill them. If you're already milling on a strategy, possibly, but those decks also don't want a 7 mana 6/4. So this one's tough for me. While it's neat and it looks awesome, I'm going to say probably sees very little play. All right, that's it, y'all, for today. Oh my goodness, we should be back in a normal schedule soon. I still have so much stuff to cover from Magic 30. There's just a lot of amazing things. But hey, let me know if there was a card that stood out today to you, because I thought today had a lot of amazing cards. So yeah, let me know what you like, if any of them spark any deck ideas, because I've already got a few going myself. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.